How to watch all Star Trek TV shows in timeline order. Watching all of the Star Trek series in timeline order is a great way to experience the final frontier. Created by Gene Roddenberry, Star Trek, now dubbed Star Trek, the original series, premiered in 1966. After only lasting 3 seasons on NBC, little could anyone have guessed that Star Trek would endure for over 57 years and spawn a dozen TV series and counting, as well as 13 feature films, and possibly more. Watching Star Trek in order was once relatively simple. Star Trek, the original series, began with the 23rd century voyages of the Starship Enterprise, commanded by Captain James T. Kirk, William Shatner. After Star Trek was revived as a movie franchise in 1979, a spin-off titled Star Trek: The Next Generation premiered in 1987 and depicted the adventures of the new USS Enterprise D in the 24th century. 2 more spin-offs followed before the first prequel series set in the 22nd century, Star Trek: Enterprise, premiered in 2001. Today, Star Trek on Paramount Plus as multiple series take place throughout the Star Trek timeline, from the 23rd century to the distant future of the 32nd century. Here's the proper timeline order to watch every Star Trek series. The earliest set Star Trek series is Enterprise, later retitled Star Trek: Enterprise in Season 3. Taking place almost 100 years after Earth's first contact with the Vulcans seen in Star Trek: First Contact, Enterprise centers on the voyages of the NX-01 Enterprise led by Captain Jonathan Archer, Scott Bakula. Enterprise aired for 4 seasons, and Archer's adventures primarily took place in the 22nd century with a couple of caveats. Enterprise introduced a temporal Cold War that impacted the 25th century, and the controversial Enterprise series finale, These Are the Voyages, depicts events from 2161, but was actually set during the 24th century of Star Trek: The Next Generation Season 7. Still, Enterprise remains the recognized beginning of Starfleet's mission of galactic exploration in Star Trek. Premiering in 2017, Star Trek Discovery Seasons 1 and 2 were set in 2256 and 2258, about 100 years after Star Trek: Enterprise. The first 2 seasons of Discovery also take place about a decade before Star Trek, the original series, which makes it a prequel initially. Discovery brought Star Trek into the modern streaming TV era, but its feature film quality, production values, and storytelling risks clashed with established Star Trek canon. At the end of Star Trek Discovery Season 2, the series time jumps to the other end of the Star Trek timeline so that the rest of Star Trek Discovery occurs during the 32nd century.